Oh my God, I got that on camera. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tellman and Fellman Live. That's right. My name's Harris Fellman, and that guy over there,
I'm Tellman. Welcome.
Tellman Knutson. That's right. He's Tellman Knutson. I'm Harris Fellman, and we're being joined today by the one, the only Craig Perrine, who years ago I donned these teeth right here. Craig, you're going to be happy to see.
I remember that.
Here,
Okay.
and I grabbed a robe. I'm so great at creating characters. I just improvised, but I think I had just bought these teeth. And I got on stage and I introduced him as Keg Perrine. I said, he's drinking so much at the bar, they should call him Keg Perrine. So
That was not a lie at that time.
It's crazy. I was in Pasadena and cleaning out my 11-year-old storage unit because I moved, and I found these, and I'm like, oh, one day I'm going to see Craig Perrine again. And give him anyway, Craig, so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. Please say hello to our audience.
Hello. And honestly, the teeth, not disturbing at all, but if you still had the bathrobe, that might raise some eyebrows at this point.
I need a bathrobe. I was thinking yesterday, totally non-related. I do need a bathrobe because I'm living with my daughter right now in the UK, and my bathroom is not in my room like hers is, and I would much rather have a bathrobe here. And then it's we're not as nice weather as Spain here in the UK, so
they didn't tell you.
I might get a bathrobe,
but everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how is it that, Craig, you have to be around our same age, but you've got all your hair? Like this is what everybody really wants to know is how do we have somebody from the OG days that's not bald? So far, that's
actually a really valid question.
Yeah. Beautiful hair you got there.
I don't know. I'd probably have to blame it on my mother if I understand how genetics works. I'm not sure. Hairline has receded a bit, but not as much, I guess.
All right. Yeah, maybe not. Definitely not as much as us. Yeah.
That's right.
And it's all it's blonde hair, so some of your grays mixed in with the blonde, and it's hard to tell.
Yeah, there's some gray here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Which I tried some of the darker coloring it in, but then I look like a villain from a Bond movie, so I decided, probably won't stick with that look.
I do it. Not today. I didn't do it today.
When I grow my beard, it grows into the two forks, and I always look like a super villain. Which is great. I mean,
even when it's gray, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in that transitioning over to being okay with it phase. But I do comedy magic, and I do definitely put the black on because from stage,
right.
And then I will do it sometime. I tried it once. I tried it once here, but it's reversed, so I was getting black all over my face and stuff. So I won't do it on the show again. I'll do it before the show, which I never have any time before the show. Anyway, let's talk about something useful. So you come from the past. You've been doing internet marketing for probably about as long as us.
When did you start?
Yeah, when did you start?
I first started blogging in 2002.
Yeah.
I was using the internet to deliver. I was doing AOL chat. Live trading back in the late 90s. So 90s.
AOL what?
AOL chat. Yeah, you're like, it was a disc you got in the mail.
No, I'm older than you. I have the discs. I had the discs, but they came in a metal tin sometimes. I remember. But I know what AOL chat is. But you just said live trading.
Yes, my first business back in 93. I turned my passion for trading the market. The futures markets in particular into my first info business. It was classic. I swiped the structure of a Dan Kennedy letter. I already had about 4 years of studying Gary Halbert and a few other things. But all the other niches I tried, I had gone from being a pretty bad student in high school to being straight A's in college.
Oh, I have that same story. I did that same move. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I had a mentor. He taught me things like open your book, actually read it, do your homework, show up to class, don't be drunk, things like that. And I decided, I'll write a book. Everybody wants to know how to get straight A's. And I think I was just smart enough to market it to the parents of the students. and I mailed out like 1,000 letters, and I got one sale that I remember cashing the check on, which was, I think, as John Carlson would say, heartbreaking success. I was like, yay, $19. I think I spent $600 on the mailing alone.
Yes.
So that was not fruitful, but it occurred to me, I'm like, well, hey,
zero, Greg, but one is so much better than zero. Like that for me, if you no, but really,
true.
Zero, everything could be broken. Like nowadays,
right.
If you get zero on a campaign, so many things could be wrong. But if you get one, and same with you, you knew the mail was working, you knew the letter worked. You just, there was other things there's things that you can adjust. But when you get zero, oh, there's so much that could be wrong. So it really is heartbreaking success. You're right.
Yeah, and I never thought about it too much. Anyway, it was kind of a failure. I tried everything. I tried 900 numbers. I tried all these things offline.
Hold on, Craig. For perspective, right? How old? I'm 47 years old. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 56.
And Harris, you're 54?
55. I'll be 56 in 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Like with technology, that span, like, is big, right? Like when you started paying attention to the stuff and at what age and what year it was, like the world changes so much within like 3 to 4 years, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. My beginning origin story. I just thought about this. I feel like the Forrest Gump of marketing, because I started. I forget how this happened, but I got recruited for an Amway thing back in senior year of high school.
We have that in common. A year later.
Yeah, I recruited like 18 people, including my mother.
Wow.
My father was a bit of an obstacle. I asked him if he would buy this. He wanted to buy a VCR. I'm like, hey, buy it from me. He's like, that only brand that you carry is garbage, and it's like twice as much as what I can get through some reputable source. Anyway, it was neat. I was wearing the suit, drawing the circles, and
What state were you in?
What's that?
Where were you?
Oh, I was not far from Tellman. I was in Burlington, Vermont.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was in Florida probably a couple years after you in Amway, going all over with a car, the deep South and Florida. So that was fun. Yeah.
Yes. No, that was, look, it got me into, I dropped out when I went into college. I was like, okay, I just didn't continue. And I got more into direct marketing. And I was reading the back of opportunity magazines and stuff like that, so that.
Did you listen to like some of the, like they were really big on personal development, right? Did you get some of that when you were in it, or did you not pay too much attention?
I already was in that. Actually, my first direct response purchase was Sea Monkeys when I was like 5.
Okay.
So given the disappointment I had with that, I'm surprised I continued on my venture. I didn't immediately, obviously, but I actually went to a summer camp in Randolph, Vermont in 1986, and I met Tony Robbins there. He was like I don't know if you call him an MC, but he wasn't always an MC. He was a special guest. Right. And he came in and did a presentation. We did board breaking. We did all this other stuff. It was called Super Camp. And it's just really amazing. And that changed my life. I ended up being a camp counselor there and a couple of years later in California.
Nice. And,
formative friendships. We could probably talk the rest of the session about that whole thing. But meeting Tony Robbins sort of collided the out there celebrity, people you never think you're actually going to meet. And then I realized, actually, it reminded me of that movie with Jack Black where he called him Banana Hands. And I was like, I get that. When I watched that movie, I'm like, oh, you are not kidding. So but that did change my attitude, because I was a total burnout and just meathead at that time in my life. And my dad and a colleague sent me and his son to this camp. And they didn't let us drink or smoke or fall down there. So I had a summer, I had about 10 days to kind of think about my life, and I met all these amazing people. And I really do think that helped set me up for when I discovered, I was reading the back of a success magazine and I stumbled across Gary Halbert's book, Maximum Money, Minimum Time.
Yeah.
And at that point I was an English major, and I was kind of dreading this glide path to being broke the rest of my life, because I knew that was the only way I was going to graduate college, was being an English major, and also writers didn't make any money. So I had some idea of maybe being a screenwriter. But then I saw Gary Halbert in copywriting, and like, okay, I like this.
Right. Yeah.
And also not a bad place to start, right? Like, he was ridiculously entertaining and just wise, and just my personality just really liked what I was reading. And so anyway, he was my first virtual mentor. I did get to meet him in 2005 at a
Fusion seminar.
Yes.
I met you there with Mark Joyner and Gary Halbert.
Which seminar, guys?
What?
Fusion. It was the Fusion seminar. Mark Joyner, Michael Fortin was there. I believe Michael was the one who invited me. Anyway, yeah.
And Mac was there.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, no, it was just, I unfortunately had to leave early, but I got to meet Gary. Maybe some other time I'll tell you the story. I actually, I was a lead in his, one of his high ticket funnels, and I got a voicemail on my answer machine in like 1999, in the last 6 months. And, Y2K was all the rage back then, right? Screw it. I'll just tell the story because it's awesome. And so they left a voicemail like, hey, call us back. And so I called, and I got this hotel, like a Marriott in LA or something. And I was like, can I connect me with Gary Halbert's room? And they did. And so all of a sudden I'm talking to Gary Halbert when I was probably supposed to talk to Bond, or, I don't know. And we talked for about half an hour about Y2K. I was a super fan, but the Y2K stuff, we went off on that. We were talking for a good little while. And so I don't know. We were basically, our conclusion was that the copy around Y2K was way too convincing, and we were a little bit unnerved about what might be happening because nobody knew. And the copy was amazing, right? So anyway, that was my earliest days. So it was Gary that got me into internet marketing in a roundabout way, I believe in like 98. He promoted or he talked about a guy named Mike Enlow.
Well, hold on. Hold the phone. How did you get your hands on Maximum Money Minimum Time? How did you even know about Gary Halbert?
That was, like I said, I was reading those like success type magazines. I'd pick them up at the grocery store or something. And his book was an ad in the back of it.
Oh, and you responded to an ad in a success magazine. So good. So good. Yes.
Yeah. A
down the rabbit hole. Right down the rabbit hole. That's great. I love it.
That's how I got on lists. I was Don LePray, like all of it. I keep on talking to people about Don LePray. Tiny ads, big profits, right? The tiny classified ads. Me, yeah.
I had that forever. I think I lost that in the flood in my old house, but it might be around somewhere. But yeah, the tiny classified ads. I used that to sell, try to sell hypnosis stuff in classified ads.
Yeah,
it was very interesting. Yeah, that was probably my first info product that I bought. Don LePray.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was.
Where did you learn, so you say that kind of in 98, you kind of were introduced to it. 2002, I think you did the AOL chat room.
Yeah.
How do those things, how do those connect? And then let's connect to maybe 2005 right after that.
Yeah. So Gary started talking about the internet with Mike Enlow, and he was talking about like BBS marketing and like what would happen if all basically spam, right? No one knew what spam was. Email, if you can acquire emails. And so from a direct marketer's point of view, if you could get thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of email addresses, I'm sure the dollar signs were going off, right? And they were for me. And
so at that time, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had some sort of a ready set, but back then, gosh, a domain name was like $135 or $160 a year. I got a domain, so long story short, I ended up having a passion for the stock market and for a couple years. And I eventually, I think, browbeat my dad into putting $10K into an account, and I would trade it for him. And I turned that into $60,000 in the gold market in 1993.
It's better than buying a VCR from you.
Yeah. Well, And the challenge was it was still his money, right? Like I didn't get to keep that, and I didn't particularly negotiate any sort of profit split beyond like maybe 10% or something. But I didn't take anything out, and so I wrote a sales letter. I did 16 drafts of the head and lead, though, and I essentially I had an opportunity to put my ad in the catalog for the trading platform that I was using, right? And so I wrote a pretty decent ad. The headline was something about, make, damn it, I'm forgetting it right now. Any other time. It was basically about making money in the S&P 500 almost every day and sleep like a baby at night. Like that was the headline. And yeah, compliance people would have a fit today with that. But anyway, it was, all I did was show my own trades and a sales letter that, like I said, I modeled on Dan Kennedy. And this guy named Rodney, I forget his last name, but he was working with, what is wrong? Jeff, the Make Money in Your Underwear. What's Jeff's last name?
Jeff. Come on.
Jeff Paul. I'm
Paul.
sorry.
Yeah, he has two first names, right?
Yeah, it's the before 9 a.m. issue for me. Anyway, so I ended up talking. I had a free consult with his copywriter, and I just kind of ran my sales letter by him, this guy named Rodney, and he's like, man, change this and that. Looks pretty good. And so I went live, and I was doing high tech, boy, back then. I was doing a two-step ad, right? And it was either I would mail you my envelope with the goldenrod, printed sales letter, or you could get it through an 800 number fax on demand.
Oh, FOD.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew who Dan Kennedy was because Gary Halbert used to make fun of him, but they used to have a friendly rivalry, I guess. But anyway, all my orders came through the fax on demand, by the way. I could never track any order to the mailed version. So eventually I just stopped mailing. I was like, if you didn't order, but by the time I was done, I had a merchant account in Vermont, and I ended up getting called into the bank like, hey, what are you doing? You're generating a lot of revenue through this thing. And I knew not to say mail order, right? Like they would frown on that, but this was the .com days. So I'm like, oh, software company, mumble. Like it was true. I was sending out discs. So, I mean, it wasn't a lie. But by the end of it, I was going to Kinko's and I was producing a, 50, 60 page manual and a floppy 3.5 floppy disk with my code on it for the trading stuff. Because all I was doing was selling them what I was doing. And then if they requested the FedEx, they paid for that. And other than that, I had no costs. I mean, it was like $9 in cost, and it was, I think it was about $2,500 for the package.
Yeah, so you had a legit info product, and it worked.
Yeah, and I had a customer I had a monthly customer. He paid me every month for like 6 years. He made so much money with my software, and I was like, bro, I'm not even in that anymore. I've gone off into the .com era, but I finally just gave him the code. I was like, dude, you earned it. Just keep the code. Right.
That's funny.
So that was neat. I was a decent trader, but once I started having kids and stuff and running the business, I couldn't do it all. And this was Vermont in the late 90s. There was no Upwork. There was no Fiverr.
No.
I didn't know anything about anything. I was still at heart a Vermont country boy with an English major. And I just, didn't know anything about the nitty gritty of running an info business. But it did. I moved to Texas, and it eventually, so Harris is like, dude, I asked you a question. But so in 2001-ish, I had been running a channel marketing thing with WorldCom for a small CRM company out of Portugal.
Hey,
and
I will be right back.
Okay.
I just have to disappear for 2 seconds. Keep telling your story.
Okay.
So a WorldCom CRM company out of Portugal.
Yeah, they were housed in like San Jose or something like that. So, but they were technically owned by a company in Portugal, and it was a small startup. It was, they were basically a competitor to Salesforce, right?
Sure.
And
but not
Salesforce,
yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little later. That was like '01 or something like that. Salesforce was starting to, in fact, Salesforce was one of our early leads. And anyway, but I ended up getting laid off from them when the dot-com crash happened. And I went back to my roots. I decided to go back into direct marketing. I had a blog, right, for a couple of years.
In what space?
Well, I was actually blogging sort of personal growth, motivational stuff for my downline in a MLM at the time. It was the only other time I did an MLM after Amway, so it was like a 15-year gap. And I was like, a friend was like, "Hey man, I really want to do this, and would you be my first rep?" And I was like, "Fine." And I actually did pretty well with it. It was Excel.
What?
It was Excel. It was doing the local long distance thing. It was actually pretty hot back then, so that was
Excel.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember Excel. I ended up the second one that I did was 20 years from Amway, and it was Liberty League, and I met a lot of people that are currently in the IM space through.
Wait, will you drink another sip of water, please, Craig?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Just go slow though this time.
You're like Baywatch. Like,
oh no, it's not water.
Oh no, you did it in
Do it closer to your shoulder.
It looked like a glass, and it was just like going invisible, but it wasn't as cool.
Yeah, hold it over your shoulder.
Next time do it with a clear glass. It'll work.
That's okay. We don't have ADD. So let's. You've only got about 10 minutes. So let's see if we can transition to something.
Well, let's transit. Let me. I have two things. One is I have a really wonderful poem here. I have a really wonderful poem.
If it's fucking long like that intro that you did the other day, I'm gonna kill you.
No, it's much shorter.
Okay.
I would rather not witness a homicide before 10 a.m. my time. Just saying.
In a land full of pixels and funnels that flow, where ideas sprout up and profits grow, there lived three fine fellows known far and wide, each with a passion, a purpose, a stride. First, there's Tellman with a gleam in his eye, building big dreams that can reach the blue sky. He'll teach you to summit, to gather a crowd with strategies clever and talking out loud. Next comes Harris, a wizard of words, with emails so sharp they'll cut through like swords. He spins up campaigns like a magical brew. If you follow his lead, success follows too. Then Craig the connector, who brings folks together with wisdom so deep, light as a feather. He'll show you the path to a network so grand where partnerships blossom, success is at hand. Three minds so distinct, yet they work as a team. Marketing magic, fulfilling your dream. From podcasts to summits, from scripts to your door. They'll help you make more and more and more. So gather round close if you're seeking success. With Tellman and Harris and Craig, you'll impress. They'll lead you through journeys both daring and fun and show you in business how greatness is won.
Wow. That's
right?
Beautiful.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
I discovered ChatGPT without running them by me. We just wasted 3 of our last 10 minutes.
No.
We just spent. I shouldn't say wasted.
Listen to him. What?
It was lovely. It was lovely. So Craig, tell us something useful. Come on, Tellman.
Well, I was thinking about essentially what has changed and what is the same, right?
Thank you.
So for me, the story, right? So I'll complete the loop. Nitro, oh my gosh. When I did my first sales letter back in the 90s, I told the story of like, hey, I'm trading up a storm. I'm making money, but I want more. I need a bigger trading account. So I'm going to sell my software, yada, yada. So I did a story angle then, and it worked in 1993. And my best campaigns, whether it's for myself or clients or whatever, have always been story. There's nothing more persuasive, and that has never changed. What has changed, I think, is, well, not I think, what has changed is the rate of change, right? Now years do happen in quarters or months, right? So one of the things that I know you guys are both, the phrase you all use is, money like speed. But it's basically, when AI first came out, I went to a conference, and what hit me was that long dev cycles are dead. Like if your idea is going to take a year or two to produce, odds are you're probably not.
It's going to be dead by the time you launch.
Yeah, because I've got several friends who are very talented who are trying to develop software, and every time they get it, they're like, "Oh, hey, we got to start over because the LLMs have completely changed."
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're so close, or they got something so awesome, but I'm like, damn it, you're really just fighting the tide of how fast things happen now. And so my encouragement there is just to focus on what can you execute today. Like if you're not, first of all, you have to be bionic now, quote, hat tip to Sam Woods. You have to be a bionic marketer. If you're just doing it solo dolo.
I like that term.
Yeah, I do too. I wish that
I haven't heard that before.
Well, he claimed, I think, bionic marketing, and I'm like, damn it, because I really like it. It's like, just say no, sorry, just do it. Sorry, I get my phrases mixed up. I love just do it. It's one of my favorite slogans of all time. It's a sneaker, for God's sakes. But in any case, you got to be AI powered, right? But so you do have to, I believe. Well, okay. Let me tie that back. You do have to use it, I believe, to help you as an assistant, an adjunct, so that like the $6 million man, like you're better than you were before. You're not, maybe you didn't get in a crash, right? But you're better than you were.
Bionic is really perfect.
Oh no, he's brilliant, and it immediately, yeah, it's like cyborg or bionic or something like that. But you're a fusion of the two things. There's that fusion marketing again. But the thing is, you've got to make it your own, because the thing that I see that no one cares about, like I'll see beautiful things from Mid-Journey and all this other stuff. Oh, it's a cat riding a unicorn. I'm like, cute, interesting. You got my dopamine, but I don't care. Like the computer did it. Make it mean something to me, right? It's like in Saving Private Ryan, like earn this. You have this amazing power. Do something amazing with it, right? We have the powers that if you had told me this back in 1993 that any of this would be possible, let alone the internet, AI, ChatGPT, poetry that would have, made my English teacher, professors, proud, and make fun of me probably too. But it was just, it's amazing. But you've got to make it your own, because that's where, if someone gives me just like raw, if I'm working with on a project, they just give me raw AI output, I can see it. I was just talking to an artist yesterday. They can see on the image side, they can tell immediately whether it's AI or human.
Really?
And so, and I know from the writing, like I can tell from the writing very quickly if it's sort of raw, unrefined AI.
So here's the thing: it's the difference as a creator, right? I mean, whether you're creating scientific reports or whether you're creating beautiful paintings, if you're using AI as a tool to create these things, AI is not a time saver from the perspective of, oh, I can use AI so I don't have to put the effort in to create something amazing. Right. What it allows you to do is to create something far better than you may be able to create on your own in a short amount of time. But if you use it to cut corners, you're still just going to end up with a piece of crap. You're going to end up with a slap together piece of garbage. But if you put the same amount of time, effort, energy into the thing you're going to create, you're going to be able to create something far greater and more robust than someone that's just like doing everything by hand, essentially.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and what I found is
a lot faster than you would have.
Yes. It's basically, it's like having an outsourced team, right?
Yeah.
But
you still need to know what to tell them to do.
Yes. And so what I found is that like the copywriters and the artists and the people that already have skill that are using AI are doing amazing things.
Right.
The people that don't know what they don't know, and they push a button and they're like, is this awesome? And it's like, no, but you don't know that because you don't know the material. You don't know what you're doing. You're trying to have it replace you. It needs to support you. It needs to be your leverage, but you can't be nothing and add nothing to the equation, right?
Dude, what you're saying is, how do we support or help people to develop more vision for themselves?
Yeah. As long as
if
your
if you have no vision, then you
right.
know, you don't know what's good or what's bad
Right.
when AI spits it out, right? But if you have vision, so how do we help people have more vision?
Well, the other thing is that supply and demand. Nobody needs another crap output ebook or, you know, nothing video that gives you nothing. Like I predicted this over a year ago that the human equation, the human part of it, would go up in value and raw information would go down. It's just supply and demand. This does not mean I'm a genius. It just literally, like, when everybody, so it's like finding out that you're from Krypton and you have superpowers, and then you find out everyone else does too. Mm-hmm. So great. You can punch each other across a field through a building, you know, and sink it.
Nobody gets hurt, right? Yeah.
But it doesn't, so does everybody else. It's why Superman movies can be really boring during that window when they're just beating the snot out of each other, but they're both from Krypton and like nothing happens until Kryptonite. Right. No one cares, right? Because he's too powerful. But so with this, you can create amazing things. Just use it to expand your own capabilities. Yes, learn it. It's not as easy as just pushing a button. To really get excellence out of anything. Like I help people build custom GPTs to help their written content sound like them. It's still not perfect right out of the box, but it's a tool for leverage to do amazing things. And I would say it's absolutely worth doing. Just don't get it twisted as to what it is and in your role in it. That's all. Make it your own.
Yeah, Craig, speaking of making your own, since we do only have a few minutes left, like for people who want to either follow you or work with you, like what do you actually do to help people, and who, like what types of clients do you have that you work with, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I have a pretty full dance card, but I do, best place to find me is just right here on Facebook, you know, just Craig Perrine. And I don't have like a website. I generally do everything sort of, you know, word of mouth, people that I've already known. My dance card is pretty full with, you know, that sort of thing. But my passion is for helping people to kind of discover. I co-authored the book Inspired Marketing with Joe Vitale back in the day. And that's really still where I'm at. I love to help someone discover what they're meant to be doing and help them get clarity on that. And I've done so many launches and all that kind of thing I couldn't even count. But my passion is right now is for helping people to do what we've been talking about, to essentially publish, to get out there, to connect, and to build an audience, because that, I believe, has also not changed, right? How you do it, all that. But you must build an audience and connection, because information is going to plummet in value, right? And Google's freaking out, right? Because search, why do you want to search something? Just ask. Why would you buy an ebook if you can just say, yo, why would you even watch a movie? Like, hey, redo Game of Thrones for me and make the ending not suck, right? And then just it'll do a movie for you, right? I'm being a little snarky, but you get the idea. Like, I don't think we even understand how much this is going to change things. So how do you do the old classic Wayne Gretzky thing and go where the puck is going to be? I wish I had
ask you a question before you go, because I know you have to go. Yeah. You use the word building an audience. Telman and I are teaching people how to do that with virtual summits.
Yes.
Where do you think? And we're pretty old school. We can still do it from scratch right now. We can build a summit really quick, but like, where do you think AI can help us help people?
I think the main thing is just helping them understand how to leverage themselves. And so I think a lot of people are either ridiculously bullish on AI or they're afraid of it. There doesn't seem to be enough in the middle where it's like, nothing's really changed, but everything's changed. You got to be okay with that duality. Like, if you still understand that human connection Ryan Dice said this at TNC, like in 2017, some of the stuff that's really going to work is stuff you can't scale, like the human touch.
Yep.
That the more you are willing to actually help people and talk to them, and it may not be one-on-one, maybe it's in a small group, maybe it's over video, maybe it's one-to-many. That's not the main thing, is that you're there and you're present and you're being real and you're telling your story and all that. Russell Brunson does it very well. Like, these are the things. Tony Robbins, like, still doing the thing, right? Where they put a lot of effort into connecting across that screen. So the connection is the key, and helping people, because there's a dehumanization of AI too. That's what everyone's afraid of.
Well, that's right? The whole thing is that we can all get distracted by for lack of a better term, the entertainment value of AI. But then no one's ever going to meet an AI model in person.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
no one's ever going to bump into her in an airport, right?
Well, for now, I mean,
yeah,
I never say never these days.
Maybe next year.
but back when the iPhone apps were going bananas, so many people spent their days screwing around with Angry Birds. I'm like, do something with this. Like
Right.
I meant it with the Matt Damon and the line from Saving Private Ryan, like, earn this, do something with it. Imagine what you can do. And so if you waste an hour on something like Angry Birds, no offense to Angry Birds, but imagine what you could have done in that hour.
Right.
With this bionic power. It's that classic the superhero story, like Spider-Man, right? Like Uncle Ben died because he didn't choose to use his power to stop the thief that ended up killing him, right?
That's right.
Don't be that version. Don't be Peter Parker, be Spider-Man, right? Or Spider-Woman, or whatever it takes. Make sure that you are using this, because time's going to go by either way. And my opinion is that it's going to go by even faster.
Yeah, and like technology speeding up, and we're also getting older, and that's also just a byproduct of aging.
Yeah,
time goes by faster. Like, it really does. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, use that as fuel. Use that. Finite is what makes everything valuable, right? Yep. AI is kind of infinite. Combine the two, and somewhere in the middle, you'll have something worth living for.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks for that. Do you want us to let you go?
I kind of do have to go. Yeah, I've got to.
Yeah, that's all right. Tell me.
Do you remember? Do you remember that you were a bonus interview on this product?
I know. I was like the +1. I was in product launch formula and a couple other things. Yeah. Butterfly marketing. I was bonus calls.
You, Rick Thompson.
Oh my gosh, love Rick. Yeah.
And that I did business with for years, and Eric Owens is on here as a bonus.
My man Eric. Yep.
Yeah, this was I got my first check from the internet as a royalty check from this baby.
Yeah, honestly, that was my first big launch. I partnered with Nitro on my List Profit Secrets course, and it's funny. I met Jason Moffat in like 2010 at an event or a gathering in La Jolla, and he's like, "Dude, listen to your course." I think he got it bootlegged. I think he even told me that. He's like, "Dude, but he's like, dude, the audio sucked." And I'm like, I know. I was recording it. I got a new laptop, and the boost microphone was pre-checked. And so it was overmodulated or whatever. And so the top and bottom of the range was gone.
Nothing you could do and didn't know.
Yeah, no, but it was amazing. And I had another friend who's like, when I met him, he's like, "Hey, I had my wife listen to this whole course twice." I'm like, "And you're still married?" That's amazing, But there was some good stuff in there, and I loved those days. That was amazing. Everything was new, and great to have met you guys back then. Tillman, but you were earlier than Harris, but yeah, it was right around that pocket. That was the early days for me.
Yeah, Merlin and I had you on the 12-week intensive. I was looking at that page a couple of days ago, and I think you talked about. I don't think you talked about copywriting because I had Gary Halbert on. I think it must have been something else.
Probably list building, or
yeah, I was going to say, I think it was list building. Although I had Tillman on as well, but I'm pretty sure it was list building. To be honest with you, and how to apply copywriting to list building. I'm sure something.
Yeah, I came up with the idea that. I don't know if I came up with it, but I was passionate about the idea that the money is in the relationship with the list.
Yep.
And I bought a domain called relationship marketing, I think, or relationship marketing secrets. That was it. And because I'm like, this is it. And that also hasn't changed, right? Like, some things stay the same, some things, everything, it's that duality you got to get comfortable with. But the connection, the human connection, I believe, as long as there's a planet, you got to have
else, hands down. Yep.
Yeah. So the good news is, being yourself can still be profitable.
Yeah, and ultimately it helps with the modern day stuff, which is important, which is engagement, and that helps with deliverability, and like if you have a real relationship with people.
Well, but that's the problem, is people step away from that, and that's why they have those problems.
Yeah,
that's right.
That realizing that the people on the other end might have a transitory interest in the thing you're selling anyway. It might not be personal. They're just, they were in it for 6-7 months. They moved on.
Right.
But you've got to engage. You've got to be real. That's the main thing. You've got to be real. You've got to actually have value that you're delivering, and be able to be a little bit transparent about things. And I think Russell Brunson does this really well with his storytelling. He talks about that. People will always relate to you sharing how you solved the problem that they have.
Yeah,
They,
totally.
it's like they said, I forget who first taught me this. But the more you describe their problem, the more they believe you have the solution. It's all these things. Those core things don't change.
Right.
But with AI faking everything, if you're not connecting on a real level, you're screwed. I'm sorry. Everything's going to be fake, and but people will still be able to tell, in my opinion, they'll still be able to tell authenticity, because there's a soul level that AI will never be able to compete on. And,
well, I mean, theoretically, right? It's hard to say, but at least for now, definitely.
For now,
never.
I really try to avoid ever and never and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll always change. It's always, things are always changing. But like, I have this this phrase that just started ringing in my head while I was running. Like a year and a half ago, I got the domain and stuff. It's called "Call Your Customers." Right?
Oh, wow.
It's basically the solution to every business that's currently plateaued or failing. It's a real simple solution. Call them on the phone right now. The owner of the company, the founder of the company, pick up them, call them. Just call them. That's all you gotta do. But it's a long-term game plan. It's not. You got to do it every day. It's basically like it's like being the guy that owns that local hardware store that's been sitting out in the lawn chair on the sidewalk greeting every customer for the last 50 years. And he's like the grandson of the guy that founded the store. It's like, and knows everybody in town, by first name, you can't beat that. You just can't. There's nothing.
You can't. And that's what I mean when you say, an audience, recreate that as much as you can. When I actually do, some people say like, oh, I don't do one-on-one anymore. It's like, the only thing I actually do now is one-on-one. Right. I do like doing the one-on-one coaching. I like it. Of course, I haven't, run a team of 90 people with, 8,000 coaching customers. Fine. I haven't haven't been in a position to burn out in that way. Right. So I still like it. That's what I like, having that impact on the one-on-one. I don't do a lot of it, but I do enjoy that. So, and cool. I think that'll never change. And if I do lose that, then I probably should be in a different business, because this is about helping people at the end of the day. That's right. Every niche I've ever been passionate about has been some part of the self-help niche, whether it's financial, health, relationship, they're all part of self-help. Mm-hmm. And, so that's my home. That's where I'm going to stay. And I think that's what I did initially. Like the upside of MLM was just talking to people and building a tribe, but this is AI is a whole brave new world. And
cool. So the poem, the AI poem was actually fairly accurate about you.
Yes.
It's like right
now.
Yeah,
that was shocking I'm like, all right, now that was my favorite part.
Yeah. No, I liked it too. It was really good. That's cool. Well, I know you had another meeting.
Yes. I'm on Perrine time, as my dad used to say.
Perrine time. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Well, thank you for being here. I think if you need to jump, then we'll probably talk about audience building for a little bit. Do you want to stay on? What do you want to do right now?
You mean Harris? Because I gotta go.
No, I meant you, Craig. Do you got to segue?
I do really have to go, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. Well,
we can do a part 2 if you want. We can.
Yeah, we totally should. We should either live or individually or whatever. We should definitely talk about it.
Next time I'll try not to go back to the 80s when I talk about my story.
Let's call it a part 2. Let's call it a part 2 when you have when you come back, and then we can just pick right up and talk to you about audience building. How's that sound?
Perfect. All right,
cool. Well, you are going to go. This is the first time that we're letting our guests go before us, but we're gonna
way to break the mold.
Thank you so much for being on. It was really great catching up with you a little bit. We definitely have more to get out of you for sure.
Absolutely, I'd love it. This would be an encore, as they say.
Wait, show us your shirt.
Oh yeah.
Don't be negative. It probably won't work anyway.
Yeah.
I love it.
In true credit, I saw that as a bumper sticker when I was in Vermont one summer, and I was that's me doing it from memory. It may have been slightly different, But I drove across the country and I was like, I got to put that on a t-shirt. I find it hilarious because of the
Oh, you
wordplay.
put it on your own, dude. Send it out as an email. It's a good subject line. It's a good email opener. Like you could do the
Yeah.
whole, and then you could sell the t-shirt right from the email. It'd be great.
Yeah, I created it on Canva. So yeah.
Sell some don't be negative t-shirt.
This is what a copywriter thinks.
Does that make it a double negative t-shirt?
Yes, that's what's so funny about it.
It's good. That's a good name.
Don't be negative because it won't work.
Double negative, and probably a double XL as well, if I'm looking at you right.
Yeah, you got the old chesticles there. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Nice, Craig. It was good talking with you.
Absolutely.
All right, enjoy your day. Talk soon.
Talk to you later.
Later. Harris.
I wanted to say one thing before we jumped in the audience building, and I was just trying to respect his time. But as you know, I've been testing this thing called auto affiliate, where it's been posting AI, and it's you can absolutely tell. I'm not saying that there's not been some decent nuggets posted, but you can absolutely tell that it's not me. I have made some sales or some free opt-ins from that company, so it was very self-serving. But like literally, as I was listening to Craig, I totally agree that like it's amazing that there's a little piece of software out there that is kicking out AI bits of wisdom in my name, but it's really obvious that it's not me, especially since I also kick out bits of wisdom myself so you can, and I hope people can see the difference, but I'm still getting, my own mother is like, oh, I like that one. And, I'm like, Mom, it's AI, relax.
No, I know. Right. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? It's
what does it mean? What it means is that the algorithms and the Googles and the whatevers, they want us to put out as much freaking content as we can. And right now, they don't seem the algorithm, the bots don't seem to care that much, but I think people do, and that's ultimately what feeds the algorithm working.
But the algorithm itself is AI, and so one of the big questions, I guess, is going to be, we've got Google, we've got Facebook, we've got ChatGPT, and we've got a whole bunch of other things that are, but those are some of the major ones. And
hard.
They're all going to be serving us up content, right? And ads for that matter. And is the content and the ads going, or the content specifically, is Facebook, is Google, is the powers that be going to serve us more is going to lean toward serving us more human generated content because that's what humans want? Or is it going to lean towards serving us more AI generated content because it's what more humans actually respond to? Like, we know some humans want more human content, but just like what you said, like your mom responded to an AI generated thing and said she really liked it, where maybe she doesn't with a lot of your other stuff. So it's like, what does that mean for everyone? Right? Like,
well, and there's probably a little bit of a, people just hit like as a habit, or, oh, I like that as a, like they're not thinking about it too much. They just think they're being polite to something. They're doom scrolling and they're like, oh, that caught my attention, like,
Right. Well, and I what, one thing I remember, so one technique was that I would get, my mom used to forward me a lot of emails that were forwarded emails, like chain mail, that was usually feel good stuff.
Right.
And one of them, the subject line was "Have a happy day!" ! All caps, "Have a happy day!" And it was like forward, colon, "Have a happy day!" ! And it was like this series of like images with a quote on it, in the email. And they were almost like, each one was like almost like a Hallmark card kind of a vibe. And I took it and I turned it into a video by by making it into a slideshow and added some animated music to it on like Animoto or something. And I sent it out as an email with "Have a happy day." And I put the text in the email and told everyone to forward it. And the email went bananas. I didn't write the email, but I took literally a proven message and then I added my own ad in a link to it, and it worked. So it's just like humans as a group respond to things in unexpected ways,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So why don't we wrap it up? Why don't we talk about, because I have to go to the bathroom where we've already lost our guest. I think we can wrap it up and
Yeah, we
meet
can totally
back
wrap it up.
and
Yeah.
get to work.
So speaking of audience building, so Craig was talking about audiences a few times, and Harris and I talk about audiences a lot lately. Audiences can and probably should continue to take the form of an email list, but not exclusively, right? You can build an audience with email, you can build an audience with SMS, and you can build an audience on each and every one of the social channels, right? Not to mention, you can build an audience through direct mail. It's a little different, but like all of these mediums have different ways of communicating and connecting. But we are holding an audience building boot camp where we are going to be walking about 25 or so students through the process of conceiving of and building and launching their own virtual interview webinar summit over the course of 12 weeks, 90 days, very hands-on. It's going to be virtual. And we're working with we're holding our first virtual webinar summit boot camp. You're going to learn how to build a big list that you're connected to, who knows who you are and wants to be on your list and wants to hear from you. You're going to find 12 or more high-level strategic partners in your industry or market. This is a methodology that you can use to build an audience for a brand new business, or it's a process you can follow to build a highly responsive, engaged, profitable audience for your existing business. If your business is plateaued or even going downhill right now, this is a way of jump-starting, of supercharging your audience over the course of 3 months. And so if that sounds like something that is what you're looking for, if you're no stranger to hard work, you're willing to put the time, effort, energy, and money into making it happen, but you're looking for expertise, guidance, Harris and I have been building audiences using this collaborative interview method through a variety of mediums over the years. We've done it ourselves. We've taught it to others. We've seen countless successes using this model, and we're running a boot camp starting in September. So if you're interested, then go ahead and type audience in all caps, type audience into the comments below on whatever platform you're watching this on, and send us a private message on whatever platform you're watching this on, and we will chat with you and send you a link where you can find out more information. So Harris,
Yes.
is there any, I just did a little commercial monologue there. Is there anything you want to chime in on with this?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think you kind of said everything there is to say about it. I do still feel like it's a, really strong business model to do audience building with a virtual summit series. And we are really in tune with like everybody we talk to we're noticing that, and we're interested and we're applying as well, like the modern day stuff to see how that's going to be able to really make your experience of business building or audience building, I should say, quicker and more. I don't want to say. I guess it's more enjoyable as well. It is a little bit more fun to use AI than having to do everything from scratch. But how you can get that done in a way that that makes sense. So I'm excited about that aspect of it as well. And I think that we don't really talk a lot about it because we're still, if we're honest, we're still, getting the pieces of that together.
We're totally learning how to use AI in order to do everything we do well, even better, right now. And I have many friends who are significantly ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
In using AI.
Wednesday, we're talking to one of the real leaders in this, Jason Jason Parker.
Yeah, who's absolute mind-numbingly brilliant applications of AI for copywriters, right? It's like copywriters and marketers who
yeah, tune in Wednesday for sure. I don't know who we have tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow person, because I might not be able to make the show. But Wednesday, I'm excited to have Jason on, and hopefully we can get.
You know who I'm going to try to get for tomorrow? Sorry to put you on the spot, Jeff, but I'm going to try to get my buddy, a local guy, Jeff Levine. He makes hot sauce, and he's a big fan of our talk show.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of his hot sauce. So. And he has some cool hot sauce related marketing techniques that he's employed. So I want to show off his hot sauce and some of his marketing brilliance tomorrow if he's able to join us. So
I have to pee. So goodbye, everybody.
I have to pee too. All right, Terrace, thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bro, this is what happens when you get old. The show's over.
Show's over.
Both of us have to go to the bathroom. There's no more show. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Right. Audience
in the comments below, we'll hook you up with some info about the boot camp. Toodaloo.